concerned about tariffs, if you want to end tariffs, how about we start building things in Illinois? How about we start building things in America? All right? That's what that's all about. But we can't build anything in Illinois. We can't build anything in Illinois because you guys have you've destroyed our economy with your massive regulations, with your massive taxes on everybody, on businesses, and on families, and everything else.
State Representative Blaine Wilhauer yesterday on the House floor after hearing from Democrats following President Donald Trump's speech Tuesday to a joint session of Congress. And the politics definitely heated up. Good morning. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and wake up with us each and every weekday morning. Let's get into it because, yesterday on the House floor, they have these moments of personal privilege where a legislator stands up and they either welcome somebody from their, jurisdiction, from their district, and they applaud them. They have other points of personal privilege as well. It's a moment where they can kind of, share with what's on their mind, including just getting up and making a speech. So we'll hear some of that. But yesterday in the White House press briefing, the White House press secretary, she talked about why there's still tariffs on Mexico and Canada and the flow of fentanyl and how they're really trying to get after ending that flow of fentanyl.
Because Canada is allowing that fentanyl to come to the United States. The president sees these numbers. He thinks about the lives that are lost. And everybody in this room, I'm sure, everybody watching at home, everybody across the country knows someone in our lives who has been killed at the hands of this deadly poison. There needs to be repercussions for that. The president feels very strongly about it.
So again, the question of the tariffs still being in place. There's been talk about lifting tariffs from auto manufacturers or delaying that. There's upcoming reciprocal tariffs that the president's going to do starting April 2nd. So if one product is taxed by Japan at this level, then the U.S. is going to tax that same product coming into the U.S. from Japan at the same tariff rate. So we'll see how all that goes. But Democrats are using this as, of course, something to bludgeon the president with and also bludgeon Republicans with politically, where they're going to be talking about tariffs or taxes on the working people, on businesses, and so on. But Katie Stewart, a Democrat from Edwardsville in the Illinois State House on the House floor, talking about the president's speech and saying that his plans for tariffs are going to hurt working class families trying to save money.
If just 2 of those Republican congresspeople decided to actually do their job, if they decided to make Congress work as a co-equal branch of government again, we could actually stop the things that are crashing our markets. We could stop raising prices on families, and we could stop erasing retirement savings before they happen. And the best part is, I'm just asking you to hold Donald Trump to the same standards you've held every other president to. It only requires you to apply the same logic today that you cited during his first term. The words and actions of the president matter. They have real consequences for our families, and we need to speak honestly about what the Trump agenda is actually doing instead of fantasizing about what we wish it were accomplishing. This isn't 12-dimensional chess. This isn't playing hardball with trading partners. This is playing with working people who put their trust in the markets and try to build a safe and secure retirement.
I mean, listen, there's no question. Trump even acknowledged this in his speech Tuesday, that there's going to be a bumpy road ahead. And we got to get through that. But he says that it'll be much better on the other side. Same thing happened, in his first term, 2019. He was able to get that deal with China. The farmers took a hit, but then they started seeing some profits. And then all of a sudden COVID hits, and we all know what happened from there. But State Representative Blaine Wilhauer, Republican from Beecher City, after hearing some of the statements from Democrats, got up and, unleashed.
We're not concerned about President Trump one bit. In fact, we're proud of President Trump, and we're glad that he got elected to save this state and this country from the radical left path that it was on, that was destroying our country. We're proud of President Trump because we've lived through it. We've lived through before the China virus, when President Trump brought out record employment in this country, rising wages for everybody, and especially for those in the minority communities, lower taxes for everybody, energy dominance around the world, lower utility bills, no endless stupid wars that defy American interest. That's a record of success. That's a record that we're proud of and we'll stand by every day. And for you over there on the left, if you're concerned about tariffs, if you want to end tariffs, how about we start building things in Illinois? How about we start building things in America? All right? That's what that's all about. But we can't build anything in Illinois. We can't build anything in Illinois because you guys have destroyed our economy with your massive regulations, with your massive taxes on everybody, on businesses, and on families, and everything else.
And he went on to talk about how Democrats failed to also work to eliminate the death tax for family farmers, because too often they have to pay exorbitant percentage of the estate and got to get lawyers involved too, and that ain't cheap. And they ultimately end up having to sell some of the land just to pay the taxes when the farm owner passes away and wills the property to somebody else. So that was an effort. It was kind of bipartisan, but it never advanced last year. Will it come up again? I don't know. But on the federal level, the White House press secretary saying that the Trump administration's agenda is working to lower taxes across the board.
With that said, as the president said last night, his administration is wholeheartedly committed, of course, to ending the inflation nightmare caused by the Biden administration. Look at the deregulation efforts. Look at the president's push last night in his speech for Congress to pass tax cuts, to end taxes on Social Security and overtime pay for hardworking Americans, end taxes on tips. We need Congress to get that done because that's going to put more money back into the pockets of the American people.
And what I think he said something else about like no tax on interest for car payments or something to that effect, only if the cars are made in the U.S. So we'll see what kind of agenda the Trump administration is actually getting across the finish line. But regardless, that's not the only thing that they debated. Economics and tariffs and taxation and regulations on the House floor. They also there was some reaction to the president's comments about gender ideology.
Peyton is here tonight in the gallery, and Peyton, from now on, schools will kick the men off the girls' team, or they will lose all federal funding.
So, of course, the president getting some applause there, but the following day on the House floor, Democratic State Representative Kelly Cassidy from Chicago stood up and made her voice heard and said that people shouldn't be targeting kids who may have gender dysphoria.
These are our children we're talking about. You are making targets out of kids. You are driving children to suicide by focusing on a boogeyman that does not exist. There has never been any indication of danger to children who compete together. There has never been any of the mysterious bathroom attacks you talk about. I also find it fascinating that you focus on trans girls and women without contemplating that you are, by doing so, sending people that look like adult males, because they are, into the women's room. The hypocrisy is stunning. Quit picking on kids and pick on your own size. I once again volunteer as tribute. Leave the kids alone.
So Cassidy saying that there's, no stories of men and women's sports causing harm to others, or boys and girls sports. But again, back to what the president said in that little chunk of the speech on Tuesday. We only heard just a little part about no federal funds for teams that have men on women's sports. But the setup there was that one of the guests in the White House was a woman who had her whole life rocked by a man in a volleyball game. Spiking a volleyball.
Peyton McNabb was an all-star high school athlete, one of the best, preparing for a future in college sports. But when her girls' volleyball match was invaded by a male, he smashed the ball so hard in Peyton's face, causing traumatic brain injury, partially paralyzing her right side and ending her athletic career. It was a shot like she's never seen before. She's never seen anything like it. Peyton is here tonight in the gallery, and Peyton, from now on, schools will kick the men off the girls' team, or they will lose all federal funding.
So we'll see how that plays out. Of course, the fight over federal funding, it's going to be an interesting one that plays out. It's already playing out in courts on a variety of fronts. But back to the State House, after Kelly Cassidy made her comments about, leave the kids alone and saying that the criticism of trans youth is leading them to suicide. State Representative Bill Howder, a Republican from Morton, also a medical doctor, he got up and shared what he saw as some recent research that kind of says the opposite.
The Journal of Sexual Medicine released groundbreaking and a massive study on gender-affirming care. I will read from it. Gender-affirming surgery, this is their findings. There was over 100,000 patients in this study. Gender-affirming surgery is associated with an increased risk of mental health issues, underscoring the need for ongoing research. Their findings showed, their analysis revealed a significant elevated risk of mental health disorders, including depression, anxiety, and suicidal ideation and substance use post-surgery among individuals with prior diagnosis of gender dysphoria. In light of these findings, I call on Illinois medicine to cease gender-affirming surgeries as experimental, and the momentum of the evidence is clear. These surgeries increase the risk of mental health disorders in our children. These are facts and evidence, not canards and not feelings. Please stop these harmful surgeries in Illinois medicine.
Again, some of the House floor debate on gender ideology, and Representative Kelly Cassidy then got back up and said that other studies show that youth who get certain types of procedures or certain types of medical treatments for gender dysphoria end up with a lower rate of suicidal ideation. It's a tough conversation to have, no question, but still, it's where our politics are. So again, that's what happened yesterday in response to the Trump speech in Congress Tuesday with Illinois in Focus Daily. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and wake up with us each and every weekday morning here with Illinois in Focus Daily.